Is your pool getting a lot of air bubbles in it? This is a quick skim on a customer's pool, and you can see the amount of air coming back into the pool, which is not a great thing. So come over here to the pump, we can actually see that it is drawing in a bunch of air. And this is the reason why it's drawing in a bunch of air. If you watch, when we shut the pump down, you're gonna see water squirt out of the lid of this ANA leaf canister. So that O-ring is bad, but we're also getting a little bit of water that's coming out of this valve here. So the O-ring in there is bad. And while we're at it, we're gonna replace this O-ring too. Here's that leaf canister O-ring. If you look at it, it is dry rotted. I mean, I'm just gonna squeeze it and you're gonna see, look at that. Should not do that. So we're gonna replace that with a new O-ring here. Put that there, and a new lid O-ring there. And then these three-way valves, we'll go and replace these here. So check out the difference in this new O-ring. See, I bend it. It's round. It's not dry rotted. That'll make a huge difference. All right, we took all the screws out of the valve. We removed the valve. There's an O-ring there, you can see on camera. See the cracks? And inside the diverter here, there's two small O-rings. There's two O-rings down in there that need to be replaced as well. All right, so a couple things. We put the valve back together with the new O-rings, but two things you really want to know. This inlet symbol needs to be pointed towards the pump. The reason for that is there on the cover have these built-in tabs that prevent you from shutting off water flow to your pump because of this little tab that's located on the bottom of the handle here. So if this is installed correctly, essentially, I could never turn off the flow to the pump. See, I go this way. I mean, I could really force it and that would break that tab, but if it stops, it's for a reason. Same if I went 180 degrees, it stops because of those tabs, which allows water to keep flowing to the pump. That's your main drain and your skimmer. The second thing, this valve is probably 20 years old and been in 20 summers here in the desert. Plastic will crack. So when you put these screws back on, you want to be extra careful to not go too tight because it will crack the housing of this valve. And then you have to replumb the whole thing. But yeah, that's it. Put your little cap back on. We're gonna get these lids back on and see if we can get rid of our suction leak. Pump is running now, check that out. There ain't no bubbles, man. That's what I'm talking about. That is a beautiful thing. Go over to the pump, the equipment, because we replaced the valve O-rings and that lid O-ring. It is fully primed, no bubbles. Canister is good and primed, and we're getting good flow. The thing is, if you have an air leak, it can be harmful for many reasons. One, it's dangerous because that thing will fill up with air. That is your filter. When it fills up with air because of a suction leak coming here on your suction side of your equipment, air runs through that pipe there, goes into your filter, then it starts to fill that filter with air. Air can compress. That's dangerous. The only reason these things blow off is because there's air trapped in there, because water can't compress like air can. And so when the system shuts down, that thing was full of air. It pushed all that air back through the plumbing, back through the pump, and back into the pool. And it can be harmful because it'll find the path of least resistance. And if you have a slight crack or something damaged on your filter, it'll blow it off. And so you really want to stay on top of your pumps and making sure they're running primed, not just because it makes the pump sound better, but it's healthier for your pool to have water running with no air. and it is healthier for your pump because it won't put a strain on it. This particular pump is a Pentair IntelliFlo, and it hasn't run for a few days because built inside of it can detect when there's a suction leak. It was drawing in too much air, so it shut itself down. I highly recommend these pumps. They have a newer version. It's called the Pentair IntelliFlo 3. You can then operate it from your phone. It can connect to the Wi-Fi and all that wonderful jazz. So if you have any questions, give ABC Pool Service a phone call. Have a great day.